Being a perfectionist is not all sunshine and rainbows. Let me tell you that. You might think that striving for perfection can make everything better, but I'm telling you guys right now, it's not the case. Trust me, I know what it's like to be a perfectionist. Don't tell me I don't know. I literally spent 2.5 hours setting up this shot and I'm not even happy with it. I've spent years trying to get everything just right, always aiming for perfection in everything I do. Even as a child, I would spend hours redoing my homework or my projects, even if it was already good to go. I just couldn't shake off the feeling that somehow this could be better. And as I got older, my perfectionist tendencies only continued to follow me. People often assume that being a perfectionist means you're just perfect in everything you do. But that's just the furthest from the truth. The thing is, being a perfectionist means that you're always striving for perfection, but at the end of the day, you're never quite happy with the result. No matter what you do, nothing's ever good enough. It's just a never-ending cycle of just disappointment and frustration, and everyone's around you like, you just won the lottery, why aren't you happy? And you're just pissed off that you didn't win it twice. I don't know if I got pricked by a voodoo doll when I was younger or something, but it's some bullshit. I don't want to be this way. I feel like I should be cool with C's. C's get degrees, right? One of the funny things about being a perfectionist is how much time and effort we put into things that people don't even notice. We'll spend hours perfecting the format of a document, or we'll complete every task on a list with just precise detail and precision. We have this constant need to rearrange and organize everything, whether it's rearranging a desk, or it's lining your bookshelf to be in exact alphabetical order, or it's spending 30 minutes planting this freaking palm tree precisely where it should be so it fits in the keyframe. We're just always looking for ways to just make things right. Let's not forget about the constant self-criticism and constant second guessing that comes with being a perfectionist. We'll spend hours obsessing over the smallest details of any given situation, things that people don't even notice, don't give a shit about, and it doesn't matter because we have to have it just perfect. This could be funny for some people, but if you're like me, at least, it is just freaking stressful. If a design is literally a fraction of a millimeter off, if something is not completely symmetrical, I will spend hours and hours and hours redoing it, even if no one else can spot the difference. And I've experienced countless failures because I just couldn't shake off the idea that things needed to be perfect. Trying to start a business and missing the boat because I spent so much time obsessing over making the logo perfect or making sure I had everything right, when the real 101 book of business is just get started and figure it out as you go. This is a vicious cycle that is very difficult to break. But after some very difficult lessons, I've learned a few things on how to cope with my perfectionism, and that's what I'm gonna share with you now. Coming to terms with realizing that perfection is just not obtainable. As perfectionists, we set just a very high standard for ourselves. This leads to vicious cycles of disappointment and self-criticism and frustration. And because of this, I've had to shift from having extremely high standards for myself to setting more realistic goals that can actually be obtainable. Also, taking breaks and practicing mindfulness is important for everyone, but it's especially important for perfectionists. We tend to burn ourselves out and push ourselves way too hard, and it could just really affect our mental health. If you're a perfectionist, please take some breaks, find ways to recharge. Don't just keep going and going, because you will. It often feels like it's a constant battle between a desire for perfection and just the fear of failure. I remember one instance in particular when I was in college. I spent weeks and weeks preparing for a presentation. I rehearsed my speech for hours and hours, and I made sure that the visuals were perfect. And I even went as far as to time myself to make sure that I was to the second for the 15 minutes long. But by the time I was done talking, it was right at the dot. And despite all that preparation, I was still extremely nervous when it came time to present. And as I started to speak, I started to stumble all over my words, and I was just losing it. My mind went completely blank, and I was like, this is a complete freaking disaster. I felt like a failure, and I just couldn't stop thinking about all the things I should have did differently. This particular experience had a huge impact on me. This made me become even more obsessed with perfectionism, and I felt like I had to work even more harder to prevent future failures from occurring ever again. But the reality was, No matter how hard I worked, it didn't matter. I couldn't control every situation in my life. Life's unpredictable and things don't always go according to plan, do they? Over time, I've learned that perfectionism just isn't a realistic or healthy way to live. It's okay to make mistakes and be okay with not having everything under control all the time. So if you know anyone that's struggling with perfectionism, you're not alone. Welcome to the camp. It's a difficult personality to keep up with, so I commend you. It's not easy. But for the love of God, try to learn to let go just a little bit more. In the end, being a perfectionist is both a blessing and a curse, I guess. While it can certainly lead to great accomplishments and success, it can lead to anxiety and stress and burnout. And honestly, I don't know that I wish to continue to do this any longer. By learning to just embrace imperfection and just finding a healthy balance between things being perfect and things being almost perfect, we can live a more meaningful and happy life. I am sure of that. I will let you know. If you guys like this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Let's keep this party going. Check out the next video coming up, and I will see you in the next one. Later.